Project. Now, I guess to be fair, it's not the same as 16, but nothing ever will be. 16 is like, I don't think that'll ever happen again, something like that. But the Nizi Project is fascinating, and it's incredibly entertaining. Like it really is. Nothing will be like the like 16, like I said, but what the Nizi Project is, it's also very unique in its own right. And I was really curious about this because I saw the premiere episode of the A2K project, right? The America to Korea project, which was also very good, and it's very obvious that it's following the same formula, like just off of the first episode and then watching the Nizi Project. And but it was also really good. Like I was really, really impressed with the those who auditioned, right, for the A2K project. It was way better than what I guess I would have anticipated. It was actually quite impressive, and so I'm excited for that. And I wanted to check out the Nizi Project because I had been told that to understand like what's going to go on with A2K, watch the Nizi Project because it's essentially the same formula, right? And so I pretty much binged part 1. And just to recap and sort of break it down real quick, it's a regional sort of auditioning or like recruitment project for a group that was held in Japan, right? And so there are a bunch of different cities across Japan where JYP went and they held open auditions, and then some people were chosen to go on to a week-long sort of contest and boot camp kind of training thing. And there was a series of trials of the different skills like dancing and singing, and then a sort of star qualities, you know what I mean? So like a lot of the same spirit as 16 as far as, selecting the right group members, trying to find, the talent that's out there and the personalities and everything. And it's a partnership between JYP Entertainment and Sony. Of course, Sony being a company that started out of Japan. So that makes sense, you know what I mean? All that sort of lines up there. But like being a fan of Twice and then and watching the whole 16 series and everything, coming to understand, to go through so many groups and just really immerse in the whole K-pop industry, and as far as the music goes, and to see how these things are done, to become a fan of JYP also, just to it becomes something you can so easily get in, like I mean, it's just, from the start you're like, okay, I'm in on this, right? Like I'm all in. And but as usual, like my expectations, I mean, you kind of go, okay, I get what the idea is, right? And then you start watching it, and like when you actually see it, it's so much better, man. Like it's so good, right? Like it's so good. And it's very much like a song, right? The pacing of this, the sort of progression of it, it does this cycle of like, there's really feel good stuff where you see the girls who are auditioning and they're very happy, and it's all like pleasant stuff about them and their interactions and their different talents and all this. It's okay, cool. And then you get hit with some entertaining, dynamic stuff, performance stuff, the singing and dancing, and you're like, oh, okay. You start getting into it. Then there's tension that builds up because you're like, what's gonna happen? Is it, did they do good? Did they do bad? What's JYP gonna say? What, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, and then there's like the flip side too, when there's some, something to overcome, right? The sort of the conflicted part where, and it gets real emotional, right? All of a sudden you're like, you become so quickly invested in everybody who's auditioning, and you know what I mean? So it's a roller coaster, right? But it's like a song where it starts telling you a story, and it builds up, and it builds that tension up, and it hits sort of like a peak, and then it will resolve, right? Because after you're like, oh, you're all emotional, okay, back up. Here's something feel good. Here's something dynamic. Here's the tension. Here's the down part, and then all the way back. Okay, like it just keeps going. It just keeps going, and you're like, oh man, this is crazy. And it's wildly entertaining. So I watched, part 1 of the Nizi Project, right? And this was the regional heats, as they call them. This was when they stopped around the different cities in Japan and selected the girls that were going to go on to the sort of week-long boot camp sort of event and continue the evaluations. And then at the end, they had singing, dancing, star power, and then at the end there was a showcase where they sort of put the girls into groups and assigned them a song and a performance, so like to put together in 48 hours. I mean, they had like 2 days to prepare everything. It was really intense, right? And then at the showcase, Sana and Momo from Twice show up as these guest judges. So, and that was, you know what I mean, just to see them there. And this was only like 3 years ago, so this was still fairly recent, right? When this all happened, and it was just really fun. And then to see the girls who are auditioning, as they're also fans of Twice, and of course, like, you can really sort of see and start to gauge the popularity of even Misamo, Minasana, and Momo in Japan, because, and it makes sense, right, that they're the ones who go to participate and be the guest judges because they're from Japan. And so this project being held in Japan, and all of the contestants really being Japanese, and that's where they live, that's where they grew up, and all that stuff. So they see these ones who have already made it, and a lot of them recognize Twice as like their favorite group, their inspiration, the reason that they're, when they think of like, oh, being an idol, what's that like, they're going to associate it with Twice. So there's so much to enjoy. There's just so much stuff to relate to and to enjoy and to, just sort of get all caught up in. And I figured it would be fun to just check out some of the Nizi Project and sort of give a reaction to it. Now, since I've already watched the first half of it, this will be the girls who were selected. I believe it was 14, and they're going to go on to participate in another sort of training. I have a feeling it's going to be kind of like a similar sequence all over again, and then at the end of this one, there's going to be picking the actual members that will go on to form the group Niziu. And I'm not as familiar with Niziu as I am with, say, Twice, right, or ITZY, or these other groups. So for me, I don't actually know who's going to end up in the group at the end. I just know what I've seen so far. And so, it's still going to be sort of a surprise. But this is actually a really good way to become familiar with the group, right? And you can kind of tell a little bit, because as I was watching the first part, I started to see it. I started to understand what it is that JYP is looking for, because they would introduce one of the girls who was auditioning, and it wouldn't even be during the performance. It would be some B-roll stuff that they were showing, and just a certain shot, a certain look or whatever, and I would go, she's got it. Like what the thing that they're looking for, I can tell in the way she's moving, I can tell in her smile, I can see it in her eyes, I can see she's got it. Like, she's definitely what they're looking for, at least to a certain degree, right? Like, going to need some more work and all of that, some finishing, some fine tuning and all that. But the basic essence, like the substance that they're looking for, she's got it, her right there. And sure enough, they ended up, being selected or otherwise doing very well in the first half. So let me check out the second half. I don't know how well this is going to go. I don't know if this is going to get black. I don't know what's going to happen. So I figured I'd just try out a couple of them and hopefully it works. You know what I mean?
시즌 2는 데뷔할 실력이 되는지 안 되는지를 판가름하는 과정입니다.
あのステージ歌いたいですっていう感じです。
아 너무 빨리 끝나는데.
See, the stage setup already looks a lot closer to 16.
세계中で勝負できることを目標に JYP のカラーは維持しつつ
Oh, this is cool.
ガールズグループを作ろうと思っています。
Mako. She was very good. She was a trainee for a couple of years. A JYPE trainee. Mako was really good. Mihi.
すごくドキドキとワクワクでいっぱいでした。
It's crazy because they already have like a different energy.
こんなチャンスは多分めったにないチャンスなので、自分はそのデビューの組に絶対
At this point, they can feel it. You know what I mean? Like getting closer, like because you could tell they're doing this photo shoot and everything. Oh, there's Mihi. But you can just see it in their movements again, and their, like they have this different energy completely. It's a different vibe.
시작했습니다.
これからパッキングを始めたいと思います。韓国語のこれはなんか
6 months.
メイク落としとか
その説明はいるの？
いるんかいらんかでもだって中何入ってるかわからない。
そんなコメントいらない。
もうなあ
私じゃなくてお母さんがやってたから。湿布とか？磨きさっきのレッスンに入れるタオルとか入れちゃおうかな。
Rio.
このネックレス4個集めたら韓国行きが決定してたけどボーカルの部分が埋まらなかったので頑張りたいです。
憧れの場所で練習させていただけるのが本当にすごく楽しみな気持ちとデビューができるようにたくさん練習を頑張って実力をもっともっとつけていきたいなって思ってます。
I guess that was her sister and her mom. Like it's really. You start rooting for the girls and you know, as they have success and everything, like you get so hyped, like yeah.
やばお願いしますすごいよ韓国だよ
This would be fun.
初めてまず海外が初めてあ、一緒一緒本当入国審査とかさあ、これだあ、これだほらねやば JYP ってちゃんと書いてあるすごい着いた
That would be really cool to go to the JYP building.
JYP さんのその会社に来たんやなっていう実感が湧いてすごくドキドキとワクワクでいっぱいでした始まったんだなっていう思いと緊張と不安と楽しみが多分混じってたんだと思う
And it like it's a building that I know because I've seen it so much with Twice and everything, you know. It's like it's the same place, it's the same building. It's crazy. It's interesting, man. It's interesting.
これからJYP で一番長い時間を過ごすところを紹介します。ここが単体レッスンとか、いろいろ授業をここで受けるダンスルームです。個別のボーカル室があって個人の練習またはレッスンを受ける部屋になります。この小さいエレベーターでも体にいい空気。
Breathing JYP air.
パクさんが尊敬するアーティストさんのコンセプトで全部部屋が作られて
こんなに設備が整っていろんなことにすごく気を配ってもらってる環境で練習することができるのは本当に嬉しいし6ヶ月間いいことをたくさん吸収していきたいなと思ってます。
Yeah, 6 months.
ここに来てください。JYP のオーガニック食堂です。ここで作られている料理は全部オーガニックで作られてます。
JYP is very proud of his organic cafeteria.
美味しそう。うまい？骨付き？食堂を楽しみにしてたので食べれて嬉しかったです。こんなところで練習させていただけることが本当にありがたいことですし、自分のものになれるようにたくさん頑張りたいなと思います。
시즌 2는 어떤 프로젝트인가요?
시즌 1은 가능성이 보이는 친구들을 찾는 과정이었다면 이제 시즌 2는 데뷔할 실력이 되는지 안 되는지를 판가름하는 과정입니다. 이제는 그것들이 한 단계 성장해야 되는 거죠.
So when in part 1, you know, one of the things he would comment on is like based off someone's performance. He's like, I can see that if you had training, you could improve a lot. Like your room to grow. You can sort of measure and you can tell where it is. It's really fascinating, man. It's really like even just watching a lot of this stuff coming from what I already know about music and music business and everything. Like I'm learning tons of stuff from this. You know what I mean? Like I have been learning quite a lot as it all starts to make sense at a certain point.
일단 여기에 뽑혀서 왔다는 것은 가능성은 있다는 얘기예요. 그럼 이제부터 그 가능성을 누가 실력으로 성장시킬 수 있는지 그게 시즌2의 관건이죠. konnichiwa.
こんにちは。
こうして韓国でまた会えて本当に嬉しいです。
Mako spent like 2.5 years already training in Korea. She was training at the JYP facility before, so she's like already familiar with it to a certain extent anyways. I don't know if it was this facility that she was training at, but a JYP studio, you know what I mean?
ここまで来るのは本当に大変だ
It
った
might
と
have
思い
been
ま
the
す。
one that
お
like
互いに
where
拍手して
when
ください。
16 was held. That's what it looked like anyways. The dance practice rooms.
皆さんが知っている JYP のすべてのアーティストがこの場所で成長してスターになりました。だから皆さんも JYP を輝かせる次のアーティストになってください。
はい。
그리고 아쉽지만 여러분들 사이에 한 명이 지금 안 보이죠? 스즈상이 개인 사정으로 인해서 트레이닝 기간부터 참석하지 못하겠다는 통보를 해와서 아쉽지만 스즈상 없이 트레이닝을 시작하게 될 것 같습니다.
東京合宿が終わってからなんか自分が本当にアイドルになりたいのかとかちょっと思ったりとか、なんかその東京合宿で会ったみんなが私よりももう比べ物にならないくらいレベルが高くて、私がこの子たちについていけるのかっていう不安とかもあって、で結構悩んだりしたんですけど、自分の気持ちまだ定まってなかったし、今もまだちょっと不安みたいなのがあって、でなんか韓国合宿に行けなくなってしまった子たちにもすごい申し訳ないし、見てる方もなんかすごい残念な気持ちになるから、本当になんか申し訳ないって気持ちしか今はないです。
I did not expect that. Wow. But you know what? If you know you're not like 100% in, that's probably the right thing to do. You know what I mean? It's a shame because she's really quite, quite attractive. She's very aesthetic, right? Like she just has that. It's just, and there's that feeling. I've certainly had it before, where you're like in a room of people and you're like, man, all these people are better than me. You know what I mean? Like this, like what am I doing in here? You know what I mean? So I know what that feels like for sure, and it's such a massive deal. For what they're going through right now, so it's understandable. I mean, I think it's the right call. It's a shame that they couldn't, maybe consider somebody who was close to making it. In other words, invite somebody to fill the spot. But then again, the logistics of it are probably quite complicated, and you know what I mean, like the windows of time that you have to work with will probably end up being quite limited. And so man, but I did not see that coming. See, this is what I mean. Like this thing gets really dramatic, like, and you just don't know what's gonna happen. Like it's really good. But she was great. Like Susu was great, dude. I hope she's okay.
このトレーニング期間のペンダントです。 이 프로젝트를 시작할 때 기자회견에서 밝혔듯이 세계적으로 성공을 거둘 수 있는 그런 그룹을 만드는 게 목표이기 때문에 춤 실력, 노래 실력 모든 것이 조금 더 높은 기준을 가지고 판단받게 될 겁니다. 노래, 춤, 스타성
Gets real.
네 가지
It gets real,
심사
son.
기준이 다 한 단계씩 업그레이드되는 모습들을 보여줘야 되기 때문에 기존에 가지고 있던 그 니지 펜던트 목걸이에 하나씩 보석을 추가해서 총 8개가 채워져야만
It's freaking cool, dude. Like it's a cool concept. It's all of this stuff, all the pendants, like all of this stuff is you have to see it. Like JYP saw all this stuff in his mind, like all of it playing out. That's why the shapes are there. Like it didn't just happen. It wasn't, like it's all so deliberate. It's fascinating stuff, dude. It's a great concept. And it's so well done.
트레이닝 기간 중에 태도에 문제가 있는 친구들은 절대로 최종 데뷔 멤버에 들어갈 수 없어요.
Oof. That's crazy. I mean, really, they're all so like sweet and also, they're really quite an impressive and such a good group. So it's confusing. What does he mean by attitude? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because he could be talking about somebody who maybe gets intimidated or doesn't seem like they can handle it. I think that's probably what that means.
ここから戦いが始まるなってすごく実感しました。
アップグレードできるかなっていう不安をすごい感じたんですけど、自分が精一杯頑張るしかないなと思ってすごくやる気が出ました。
一生懸命頑張って絶対に4つまたもらいたいと思ってます。
1つ目のミッションは個人レベルテストです。レベルテストが終わったら13人の順位が決まります。
The process all over again, man.
最下位になったら
If you rank at the bottom twice,
残念ですけど
that's it.
脱落です。
Oh my goodness, dude.
やっぱりサバイバルだなって感じました。すごく残酷だな。
Oof.
絶対最下位2回にはなりたくないなと思います。
No kidding.
13位だけは避けて頑張っていきたいって思ってます。
Like you remember in 16, you remember when like somebody had to get cut? Oh man. Oof.
各自自分の実力を見せてください。
後悔なく自分の今出せる力を
Yep.
全て半年間ぶつけて
頑張って今までもこれからも頑張ってきたので
完璧な姿を見せたいなと思いました。
They're so smart. Like watching part 1 and everything. They're so young, but they are brilliant, man. The way that they articulate when they have something to say, when they try to express something, with the creative stuff, like the X Factor stuff, like they're incredibly sharp, man. It should be acknowledged. Like I was so impressed, just across the board with everyone. Man, it's crazy. Like they're so good. They're so smart, man. JYP dorms. Damn, what is that, a harp? This sounds so cool.
あ、見て。持ってきた。待って。リマ。
何？
違うね。
何？持ってきたの？
多すぎやった。
ちょっとクリスマス気分を味わわなきゃと思って。最高！ね
Oh, I was gonna say if she has one too.
最高すぎる。
Oh, the cameras.
カメラが動く。そうなの。動くみたい。
話してるみたい。こんにちは。
なんかマジかしら。
It's cool stuff, man. JYP's got cool stuff, man. It's... Oh, goodness.
몇ヶ月もさ、このメンバーで生活するわけじゃん。なんか別れるのが悲しくなっちゃうよね。
そうやね。
ちょっと最後が辛そう。
でもさ、
Yeah, if you
再
make
会
it.
2回なったら
そう起きちゃう
あれもあるじゃん。そうね。
頑張ろう。本当に落ちたくない。ここまで来たからさ。
ああ、明日からここで自分が半年間頑張って成長して場所なんだ、つかめるように頑張る場所なんだって考えたら、本当に一気に今日で実感がわっと湧いてきて緊張はすごいするんですけど、
13人と一緒にいてすごいそんな不安も吹き飛ばされるような気分で、これからみんなでデビューできるように自分も落ちずにみんなも落ちずにみんなで高め合って練習できたらいいなって思いました。
It was like that with part 1. Like, you don't want anybody to get eliminated or whatever. It's like, I wish all of you could, do it. I wish you could all form groups. Wow, dude, 30 days. 30 days for the first test. Like, man.
全員がデビューできるとは限らないので、
1位を取りたいです。
1位を取りたい気持ちはあります。勝ちたいなと思います。
Mako is good. Mihi is good. Like they really are. They're like really good. Oh my goodness. This one. This is so cool, like, because it becomes so tangible. Like it's this thing about the concept moving from abstract to concrete, I even saw it in the ITZY clips, the concept clips. They're called concept clips. And I was explaining that thing about the platform they were on, and it was square, and there was another like part above it, and the space in between, it's a cube, right? But there's nothing there. Like, it's just the concept of that shape. But as the trailers go through, like, it actually does become a cube, and then by the end it actually becomes a circle. What's being expressed there is a concept moving from abstraction to actually being a concrete, like, built, engineered thing, right? And so but that's what all of this stuff represents, and it's just really cool to see it.
私は一回もこんなステージ見たことがなくて緊張が止まらないです。ドキドキが止まらない。舞台の上でパフォーマンスできることがずっと夢でもあったので、それが叶う第一歩だなって思って、すごい楽しみと緊張が混ざってます。
이제는 제가 13명의 실력을 다 알잖아요. 그렇기 때문에 단순히 오늘 그들의 실력을 평가하는 것이 아니라 한 달간의 교육 기간 동안 얼마큼 늘었는지를 이제 냉정하게 판별할 수가 있어서 과연 거기까지 도달할 가능성이 어느 정도일까라는 기준에서 평가를 하게 될 것 같아요.
And this was interesting, right? Because as I was watching the first part of the Nizi Project, I kept thinking to myself, like, man, how good are Twice? You know what I'm saying? Like from the 16 days, right? Like I'm remembering that series, and I'm going, dude, how good is like since then? Like they were so good at everything, right? But they were the trainee level already, right? And that's the difference. You know what I mean? But like it, oh, dude, it's so like. It's so impressive. 16 is like, you can see like they were so good, dude, from that start, right? From that, okay, here's that opportunity, but they were all like just really amazing, all of them, you know. So this is super interesting because it goes from that level before you've been a trainee for X amount of years or whatever, right? And then go through that trainee level like instruction and, you know, the training and all of that. And so it's gonna be wild to see that precipitate into like the development of the skills.
個人のレベルテストの順位を発表します。2回最下位になったら残念ですけど。
See, it gets so heavy, man. It gets like so intense. It really does.
내가 가시들 서는 무대인데요. 애들 완전히 떨어버릴 것 같은데.
Yeah.
애들 그냥 울 것 같은데 올라와서 긴장돼서.
You made. See what I mean? The concept
할까요?
is huge, right?
하지마 마셔.
But it should be fun. You should have fun. You should, you know, seize it, right? Like you should be like, yeah, let's have a good time.
このように大きいステージは初めてですよね。
はい。
本当に緊張すると思います。このように
Have
ステ
fun,
ージ
have
に
fun, have fun.
立つのが
Have a good time.
みん
Enjoy
な
it.
の夢だったから
Yeah, yeah.
楽しん
You
で
get
く
a
ださい。
taste of it. Mm-hmm. It's getting closer. It's funny because like from the couple of Nizi videos that I've seen so far, I'm like some of the faces look familiar, right? But I don't know yet for sure. I can't say for sure because I don't know them all so well yet. But I'm like, I can almost see it. I can almost see it. I'm
トッ
like,
プバッターは誰ですか？
wow, Rio.
本当に緊張すると思います。頑張ってください。
Well, don't do that.
こんにちは、リオです。よろしくお願いします。
지금 너무 예뻐요.
ありがとうございます。それ美しすぎる。
이런 무대도 이제 처음 서봤을 텐데 하필이면 또 첫 번째 참가자다 보니까 굉장히 많이 떨릴 것 같은데 괜찮아요?
大丈夫です。
Just go for
大
it,
丈夫
right?
です。
Just go for it. Just go for it.
그럼
Just
오늘
do
부를
it.
노래는
ユビンさんのスンニョを歌わせていただきます。
A lot of the music, right? Like from part one when they would have some of their trial performances, you know, they would pick a lot of Twice songs and, you know, so like ITZY, right? That was very popular. But some of them were, especially on the vocal side, a lot of things that I was hearing for the first time. It's quite good though. You know, a lot of these Japanese artists and stuff that you know that I was totally unfamiliar with. I have no idea, and I'm hearing it for the first time as a part of their audition process, and it's very good. Like it's really good music.
리오 양이 원래 락킹 댄스 했었죠?
はい。
락킹 댄스랑 이 숙녀에서 보여줘야 될 모습이랑은 어떻게 보면 굉장히 반대인데 어떻게 준비했어요?
See, I don't know, right? Like
今回そのスンニョっていう曲は結構レトロな感じで子供っぽく見せたくないというか、ちゃんとまだ見た目とかはまだ子供なんですけど、ダンスでその大人な雰囲気を出せるように。
See, this footage right here, this is like the substance of it. You know what I mean? Like you want to see the actual performance and all that, but this is what gives it like so much value and instills it with and even like later on, you know, when you see the performance and when it starts to get emotional and all that, it's because of this. It's because of all this work and all this time that gets put into it. You know, that's the investment. That's you know what I mean? This is like the real substance of it.
私なかなかその踊る時の足の癖がちょっとなかなか治らなくて。근데 이쪽에 사면 할 수 있어?
문장이랑 가사랑 뭐 발음 다 훨씬 좋아졌어. 근데 아직도 너무 안 좋은 게 문제야.
네. 네.
이거 지금 박자가 다 늘어지는 이유가 뭐 때문이라 그랬지?
걷기?
그래, 숨 쉬는 박자가 안 맞으니까 노래가 뒤틀린다 그랬지.
분주한 이 도시는 왜 이렇게
今のままじゃ多分全然自分に自信も持ててないし。
It's tough, man. It's tough.
あんまりうまくいかない
It's fun.
ことも多くて、ちょっと泣いてしまった時間もあって、なんで自分はこうなんだろうとか、なんでこういう風にしかできないんだろうとか、なんで自分に自信持てないんだろうとか。ただダンス中途半端なままじゃ絶対にダメだから、もう自分を追い詰めてっていうか、自分をもっと自分の見せ方をもっと研究して、
They're so smart.
頑張るしかないですよね、本当に。
They're so smart. You know, they're all like very young, right? Like they're all maybe around like 16 years old or something like that, but they're so, in other words, I went to college and studied music, and I was there with a bunch of like that 18 to 24 demographic, and what I can say with like 100% honesty is that these girls can articulate their thoughts better than like the majority of the people that I went to school with. I was much older at the time. but you know that means I can, like, I'm watching all of this kind of from the same perspective, and they're incredibly intelligent, man. Oh man, and it's really cool. It's why, you know, I root for them so much. Like, the sound.
頑張ってダンスだけじゃなくて、歌も成長したねって言ってもらえるように精一杯自分の個性を出しつつ頑張りたいと思います。はい。
솔직히 잘 상상이 안 됩니다. 리오라는 친구가 춤을 좀 남자들이 많이 추는 춤을 오래 춘 것 같아요. 그런데 숙녀는 사실 굉장히 여성스러운 동작들을 많이 보여야 되는 거여서 어떻게 할지 상상이 안 돼. 표정도 춤도 잘하면 깜짝 놀랄 것 같고요. 반면 동시에 좀 걱정스럽기도 합니다.
Oh,
시즌 2는
okay. But man, the timing on it, right? Okay, so I'm gonna cut this one here, but I'll come back, you know, for the performance part, and there's probably gonna be a couple of performances, probably 2 or 3 in this next episode. See, like, get an idea for the pacing of it, but you can, like, man, the first half, the first part, you know, it's so good, man. Like, I know this is going to be better, like the part 2, you know what I mean, and actually making it to the group. But oh my goodness, dude, it's like, it's so good, man. It's so good. And I will check out the A2K project too. Hopefully all this works without a hitch. That's like my main concern, is that I hope this stuff doesn't get blocked for whatever reason. But yeah, man, I wanted to check this out and kind of share it, because it's so good, dude. It's so good. You know what I mean? Like, I was 16. I just I went all in on that. I binged it. I watched the entire thing in like a day. Like, I stayed up all night watching that, you know. So I couldn't share any of it, but I couldn't help myself, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't hold back at all. Like, by then I was already like very much into Twice, and really just had already kind of become my favorite group, and so I just couldn't hold back at all, dude. Like, I watched all of 16 in like one sitting, but now, you know, we can check out some other stuff together, and so it'd be fun. But okay, so next episode, we'll start in with the performances. It's gonna be good.